Good morning, my dear friends and fellow lovers of African folk tales. Come, gather close under the shade of the ancient Iroko tree. Today, I bring you Daughters of the Sun, Part 2, a powerful continuation from the village of Umueze, a tale of two special daughters, of fear that spreads like harmattan wind, and of shadows that creep when truth begins to sing. Morning came, but it did not feel like morning. The sun rose over Umuez, just as it always had. The goats wandered. The women swept their compounds. Smoke curled gently into the sky. But beneath the ordinary, something had changed. The air felt heavier, like the village was holding its breath. It started with whispers, quiet at first, careful. They tried to take the twins. The words passed from one ear to another, from door to doorway, from market stall to riverbank, and they failed. That part always came last, and it was the part that made people uneasy, because failure like that was not normal. Some people felt relief. They protected us, a woman said, holding her child close. If they can stop danger like that, then we are safe. Others were not so sure. Or maybe they are the reason danger came at all, another replied sharply. And just like that, a seed was planted. Fear does not need much to grow, just a question, just a doubt. By midday, the village no longer spoke with one voice. Groups formed in corners. Men stood in clusters, speaking in low tones. Women paused their work to exchange worried looks. Even children felt it. They played less, laughed less, watched more. At the center of it all stood the twins, Amaris and Zina. They did not chase the rumors. They did not try to explain themselves. They simply lived, quietly, fetching water, helping their mother, walking side by side as always. But their silence spoke louder than any defense. Their father did not stay silent. Chinedu stood in front of his home that afternoon, his voice firm. "No one will touch my daughters," he said. His eyes moved from face to face. "They have done nothing but bring light to this village." Some nodded, others looked away, because courage is easy when there is no danger. But danger had already come, and it had a name, Chief Okafor. While the village argued, he did not. He watched, he listened, and most importantly, he planned. In his large compound, far from the noise of the village square, he sat in silence. A cup of palm wine rested untouched beside him. His jaw was tight, his eyes dark with thought. The failure of his men had not weakened him, it had angered him. They turned back, one of the men had said earlier, trembling. "We don't know why." Okafor did not shout. He did not strike them. That made it worse. "Fear," he said slowly. "You allowed fear to control you." The men lowered their heads, but deep inside, Okafor knew it was more than fear. Something about the twins disturbed him, not because they were powerful, but because he could not control them. And men like Okafor build their power on control, on secrets, on silence, on things hidden in darkness. But the twins, they were something else. They did not expose people by force. They did not accuse. They simply sang. And truth answered. That was what made them dangerous. Back in the village, the tension finally reached its peak. An elder called for a meeting. By evening, the great Iroko tree stood surrounded. Men, women, young and old, all gathered, waiting. The elders sat in a circle, their faces lined with age and wisdom. But even wisdom can struggle when fear is involved. Voices rose quickly. "We must protect the twins," one man said. "They have saved this village more than once, and brought danger with them," another argued. "We cannot ignore what we don't understand. They are not the problem. They are the reason we are still safe." The arguments overlapped. Voices climbed. Hands gestured sharply. The village was dividing. Then, an old voice cut through the noise. Slow, calm, powerful. It was the oldest elder among them. He did not raise his voice, but everyone fell silent. "If we push them away," he said quietly, "we lose what protects us." The words settled like dust, heavy, unavoidable, because deep down, they all knew it was true. The twins had never harmed anyone, never forced themselves on anyone, never demanded respect. They had only given, and yet, now they stood at the center of fear. Silence stretched across the gathering, but silence does not mean agreement. It only means a decision has not yet been made. Far from the meeting, someone else had already made his. Chief Okafor stood at his window that night. The village looked peaceful from a distance, too peaceful. "If they stand with those girls," he muttered, "then they stand against me. This time, there would be no quiet attempts, no hidden moves." He turned slowly, his expression cold, resolved. "Prepare," he said to the man behind him, because this time he would not send shadows. He would come himself. Back in their compound, the twins sat quietly under the night sky, the same sky that had watched everything. Zina spoke first. "They are afraid." Amaris nodded. "Yes." A pause. "Will it get worse?" Zina asked softly. Amaris did not answer immediately. She looked out into the darkness beyond their home, as if listening to something unseen. Then she spoke. "Yes, not with fear, but with certainty, because some storms do not pass. They arrive, and when they do, everything changes." That night, Umueze slept, but not peacefully, not completely, because something had begun. Not just fear, not just division, war, and this time it would not remain hidden. The night before everything changed was quiet, too quiet. No wind, no distant drums, no laughter from the compounds. Even the insects seemed to whisper instead of sing. Umueze village was awake, but pretending to sleep, because everyone felt it now. Something was coming. In their compound, Amaris and Zina sat side by side beneath the moon, the same moon that had watched them grow, the same moon that had listened to their songs. Their mother slept lightly, inside. Their father remained awake, sitting near the doorway. A man does not sleep deeply when danger is close to his children. Zina broke the silence. "It's tonight." Amaris did not look surprised. "I know." There was no fear in their voices, only calm. "Will we stop him?" Zina asked. Amaris looked up at the sky. The stars were faint, as if they too were waiting. "We won't stop him," she said softly. "We will reveal him." Zina nodded, because that had always been their way. They did not fight, they did not chase, they did not destroy. They revealed, and truth did the rest. Far from their home, footsteps broke the silence. This time, they did not hide. No shadows, no secrecy. Chief Okafor walked at the front. Behind him were men, not two, not three, many. Some carried sticks, some carried blades, others carried fear, hidden behind pride. They moved like a storm, slow, heavy, unstoppable. At the edge of the village, doors opened slightly. Eyes watched. No one stepped out, because this was no longer whispers. This was power, moving openly. Back at the compound, Chinedu stood up. He saw them coming. His jaw tightened. "Stay inside," he told his wife. Then he stepped forward. But before he could go far, Amaris placed a hand on his arm. "Papa," she said gently. He turned. "This is not your fight." His eyes burned. "They are my daughters." Zina stepped closer. "And we are your light." Silence. Then slowly, he stepped back. Not because he was weak, but because something in him understood. The men stopped at the entrance of the compound. Chief Okafor stepped forward. "So," he said, his voice calm but sharp, "this is where the power lives." Amaris and Zina stepped forward together, barefoot, unshaken. "We are not power," Amaris said. "We are truth," Zina added. A few men shifted uncomfortably, but Okafor laughed. "Truth," he repeated. "Truth does not threaten men like me." Amaris tilted her head slightly. "No," she said softly, "it reveals men like you." That was when his expression changed. The air tightened. "Enough," he snapped. "Take them." The men moved forward, and the twins closed their eyes. Not in fear, in purpose. Then they began to sing. Not soft, not gentle. This time, their voices carried weight. Let the hidden rise to daylight. Let the covered stand exposed. Every path of silent darkness now shall walk where truth has flowed. Hands that built on stolen stories, hearts that fed on secret gain, stand and face the light before you, or be broken by its flame. The ground seemed to hold its breath. The men slowed. One dropped his weapon. Another stepped back. The song did not attack. It revealed. Memories surfaced. Guilt stirred. Truth rose. One man fell to his knees. "I can't," he whispered. Another turned and ran. The line broke. Fear spread, but not from the twins. From within. Chief Okafor stood firm, but his breathing had changed. The song reached him now, fully. The throne that stands on hidden bones will shake beneath its pride. The name that feeds on silent fear has nowhere left to hide. "No!" he shouted, but it was too late. Images flooded his mind, things buried, things denied, things done in darkness. His knees weakened. "Stop this," he muttered, but the song did not stop. It deepened. "You are not untouchable. You are not beyond the core. For every shadow you have guarded now stands before us all." The village had gathered now, drawn by the sound. They watched, and they understood. Not from accusation, not from rumor, from truth. Okafor staggered. His voice broke. "I did it," he whispered. Silence fell. "I took what was not mine. I silenced those who spoke. I built my name on fear." Gasps spread through the crowd. Power shattered, not by force, by truth. Okafor fell to his knees, and for the first time, he looked small. The song softened. Truth is not a blade to cut you. It is light to let you see. Stand in it, or run forever. But tonight, you will be free. Then, silence. Complete. The night exhaled. No one moved, because something had ended. Not just a man's power, a season of fear. The elders stepped forward slowly. "This ends tonight," one said. And it did. Not with blood, not with fire, but with truth. In the days that followed, Umueze changed. Not perfectly, not instantly, but deeply. People spoke more honestly, walked more carefully, lived more openly, because they had seen what truth could do. As for Amaris and Zina, they did not stay. One morning, before the sun fully rose, they stood at the edge of the village. Their parents stood behind them. "Must you go?" their mother asked softly. Amaris smiled. "Our song is not only for here." Zina added gently, "There are other hearts waiting." Tears filled their mother's eyes. Their father said nothing. He only placed his hands on their heads, a silent blessing. Then, the twins turned and walked, side by side, into the rising light. Years later, people would still tell their story, of the twins who sang truth, of the night power fell, of the village that changed. Some said they were spirits, others said they were a gift. But those who truly understood knew this. They were not magic. They were a reminder that truth, no matter how quiet, will always find its voice. End.